Hey, welcome to the show. So my name is Nick Basket. I'm the editor-in-chief over at bartalks.net, which is an online resource for coffee and cocoa professionals. Today, we're going to be talking about embarrassing things that I do with my espresso. And you'll see on the table here a whole range of different things that I've got, these sort of like bits and pieces of tools. I've got a rocket blower, I've got a paintbrush, I've got a fork, I've got some blue tack and some other things. I've got a vacuum cleaner and some other bits and pieces here. So I thought I'd just come clean. This is sort of a bit like me coming out and admitting that I have some terrible habits and I probably need help. But I'm hoping by reaching out to you that you're also going to, it's going to encourage you to come out as well and say, Nick, I also have a problem. I do some bad things as well. So look, it's not just me, and we all do things that are pretty terrible. I'm particularly embarrassed about the blue tack. Actually, the blue tack and the fork. They're sort of, I look. I'm just know I'm going to get a lot of criticism on these. But okay, here we go. So, first things first. What should we pick first? Let's pick a nice and easy one first. Some of these things, by the way, I'm missing one. Let me just go and get it. All right. This bit of rubber here. This is like a bit of rubber netting. So we're going to have that one on there. Well, that's actually not embarrassing. This one, this is a good one. All right, so we'll start. Start with this one. Start with the rubber netting. Why not? This is slightly dirty, as you can see. It's kind of grubbing up my table. This is. I actually don't think it's rubber. I think it's some special magic material. This is the stuff I used at the cafe when we put this onto the shelves where we put glasses, because when glasses are wet and you're washing things quickly and you put them on top of a shelf or whatever, they would tend to slip and break. So this matting just kind of stopped them from getting chipped. It stopped them from slipping. You can get it on Amazon. I got this on Amazon. You buy it by the roll and it's cheap as anything. But here's the thing, it's heat resistant. So what do I use this for? I've cut this slightly, not squarely. I should have another go. I've got a whole roll of it in the cupboard. I cut this into a little square. It fits on top of my rocket, and I put it there for two reasons. One, it stops any kind of jingle, when the machine's chucking away. I mean, having said that, it doesn't really do that anyway very much because it's a rotary motor and it's very quiet, but there's there's potential there for a little bit. But also, importantly, it stops scratches. It stops the scratches on the surface. So, it's all a whole chrome finished deal on top of that machine. So it's kind of a multifunctional thing. I put it on top. It stops anything from slipping around, stops any kind of little jingling, and it'll sound like that when you're making coffee. And it stops the top of your machine from getting scratched up. So that's my little tip number one. It's not really embarrassing, not really a dirty tip, but there's going to be a mixed bag. Wait till we get to the blue tack. All right. Tip number two. Some of these, by the way, I appreciate some of you be like, I know that one. I know you probably know, but some people don't. It's amazing. Let's deal with this one here. This is an old barista tip. If you've got different baskets and you're wanting to swap your baskets out, especially if they're hot, and take them out and you're like, shoo, and you get your fingernails under there and the rest of it, don't do that. Take the basket that you're looking to swap it out with and just take the little lip here and get it in there. And you'll see that actually it fits perfectly. It's like made to fit perfectly, and it pops out. So that is just a little tip, little hack for those that didn't know. Admit there's somebody out there that didn't know that. All right, that's number two. Number three, we will go with the hand vacuum cleaner. If you don't have a hand vacuum cleaner, you need to get one if you've got a grinder. Because, if you've got a grinder that's not single dosing, I would say. For a lot of us who have, I quite like holding this kind of gives me a feeling of power. So what I'm holding here, this is a Dyson. This is actually not built for the coffee thing. It's built for something else. It's built for cleaning my upholstery and sucking out spider webs because I hate spider webs. They terrify me. So, but in addition to that, most of what I use it for is cleaning the top of the grinder. So when I take the top burr off, and if you haven't seen my video on my Eureka grinder, this is basically how I clean it. I take the top burr off and I just go around there in the vacuum cleaner, then go in there with a brush a couple of times, and then go back in there with a vacuum cleaner. And it's a lot better than turning it upside down and shaking it, which was my old method. Okay. So we got a vacuum cleaner. We're rattling through these. This is great because I need to go shopping. So we've got we've done this. We've done the rubber thing. I think it's, I don't know, it's a plastic thing. It's, what's the word? It's silicon. I think it's silicon. I'm not really sure. You can probably look it up. If you're searching for this on Amazon, I might try and put a link into it. If I'm not too lazy, look for the link. Yeah, I think they call it silicon. I'll look for it. Anti-slip net. I'm going to say something like that. Okay. Everybody knows the paintbrush, right? Anybody out there not know about the paintbrush? Paintbrush. So when you're possibly the most important tool, your most important tool as a barista is your paintbrush because you use it for everything. So the first thing is when you're cleaning coffee out, yes, everyone sort of uses a towel, but if you've got quite a few grinds in there, you don't want to be dirtying up your towel by just putting that in there. So you put this over your bin and your knot box, and you just do that on it, right? And then that gets 99% of everything out. If you want to go and give it a wipe the towel afterwards, if that's necessary, great. A lot of times you can just use the brush and you're good to go. But not only that, but yet there's more. Wait, there's more. The brush also works as a wonderful tool for those, as you can see here. Look at that. Look how wonderful that is. You probably can't see. I don't know if that's on camera or not. But it's a wonderful tool for sweeping up bits of coffee grounds on your bench. So a very quick way, in 2 seconds, in a flash, in a jiffy, you can sweep up your coffee grinds here, get your knot box under the table, in it goes. And if you try and use a cloth for doing that, they just stick to the cloth. Your cloth gets very grimy in a very short period of time. The brush saves you from that. So if you don't have a paintbrush, by the way, don't bother going for like a coffee special paintbrush. It's just a paintbrush, darling. So do that. Okay, what do we have? We're in number 3. That's number 3. I wonder how many hacks I've got. Oh no, it's number 4. We've done the portafilter basket opening trick. This is going to be a short session. I should have talked slower. We've done the vacuum cleaner. We've done the rubber silicone netting thing. Leave the blue tack to last. Make you wait. Actually, before I do that, let's talk about very quickly what coffee. Let's spread this out a little bit. Let's buy some time. Coffee I'm drinking at the moment. Interested to share this with you. Not a sponsor. Just coffee I'm drinking at the moment because my masseuse. I like to say it's like my stockbroker called me. She's like a physical therapist person. So I go once a week and I get a bit of love, a bit of frees me up a little bit. And she recommended these people to me. And I thought, what does she know about coffee? A lot. These are great. I've had this guy. So if you're in England, these guys are I mean, I love their coffee. I say that, actually, I've only had 1 bag of them. So I don't know if these might be awful. As you can tell, these are brand new, but very excited to try. Let me just take my glasses off. So this is Horsham Coffee Roasters. Those listening, lovely listening people. I'm going to do a listening only podcast, I think once or twice, for all those nice people that listen in and then get very frustrated because, they can't see what I'm talking about. So this is, let me try and pronounce this. Rwanda Bishaza. Obviously, process carbonic maceration. Now, I think I'm going to do a podcast on, let me know, here's the thing for the comments below. Let me know if you want me to do a podcast on the difference between sort of like washed honey processed, naturals, etc. Because I'd quite like to do a podcast on that, but if no one's interested, I won't. Tasting notes, strawberry, blackcurrant, and caramel. And yes, before you write in and say, it's supposed to be a pour over, it's not. It can be made as an espresso because they specifically said. Then I bought this from the same people. This is from Costa Rica. San Juanilo. Another carbonic maceration. Tasting notes, prune. Probably the only place I'm going to be drinking prune is in my coffee because prune juice, not for me. Prune, white grape, and honey. I can't wait to try that. And finally, another one from Costa Rica. This one here is La Isla. Isla. This is an SL28 varietal. Process is with, this is a honey processed, white honey. I'm quite sure what the white honey process is. I mean, it's honey processed, isn't it? Might have to look that up. Blackcurrant, rhubarb, and fruit syrup. Wonderful, wonderful. We also have a winner for our beans from Peaberry. Lovely Peaberry people are going to be sending a bag, half a kilo of gems of Araku to a lady whose name I've slightly forgotten. But you know who you are. And those beans are ordered today, and they're on their way to you. So send us a picture. I'll put it up on the site. If you're not part of this whole fun thing, go and register below. It doesn't cost anything. We don't spam you. You might be wondering why you've registered because you don't hear from us. That's absolutely fine. You hear from us when you've won something, and we just send you, every month we announce a bag of beans. We send them off. We don't spam you. We don't sell you data or anything like that. So there's nothing to lose and everything to gain. All right, the fork. All right, this is, I don't know, so this is a toss-up between which is more embarrassing, the fork or the blue tack. And look, if we can't be honest with each other, then, what's the point of this relationship? I've got to be honest with you. So here's the thing. Oh, am I going to be honest? Yes, I am going to be honest. I'm going to be brave. Come on. Brave up, Nick. All right, so I'm too cheap to buy one of those WTT things because I looked at them. I wanted to buy them, and they were like £50. I'm like, mate, come on, seriously, £50? We all know that this is basically a cork with some needles sticking out of it. How can that be more than a £5? Seriously, ridiculous. I mean, I'm tempted just to quit my job and go into that business. But anyway, people have this, but it has to be 3 millimeters apart, certain number of needles. Probably. But I lived without it. Somehow Italy's, got on for a century or something making coffee without it. I know it's good and it's important and all the rest of it. But here's the thing. It's 50 quid for some needles. I made my own. I had a cork. I bent out some paper clips. They're probably went the right length. They were kind of at different angles. It looked a little bit like my toes, which are very crooked. And then I used that before. But when I moved house, somehow, for whatever reason, that got lost. And I was going to make another one. Or no, actually, I started looking around to buy a cheap one. I couldn't find a cheap one. Then I was going to make another one. But then I didn't have any corks because I stopped drinking alcohol. And then I just one day I picked, because I had a few boulders in there, I thought, I'll pick up the knife. The thing is, there's a technique to this. You don't stir it around like you do with a WTT. What you do is you stab it. I mean, obviously not aggressively unless you've got anger issues. But you stab it in like this and you just break up the balls. What I actually do is it makes little holes all the way down to the bottom. So very gently, stabby, 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 stabby. Maybe a little bit of, push it around. Stabby, 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 stabby. Then all the boulders are pretty much broken up and you've kind of got these little pockets all the way down. And I give it a solid tap and all the pockets are filled. Laugh as you will. I'm just saying there'll be people out there which are laughing with you at me, but then they're going to do it anyway. And it does actually help. Not as much, I'm sure, as a £50 tool, and I spent all that money on a machine and grinders, and why don't I just spend the extra 50 quid? It's the principle. It's the principle is what it is. All right, the blue tack. The moment you've all been waiting for. I don't know if this is a good idea. Look, I'm sure someone's going to point out when I tell you what this blue tack is for. Someone's going to point out that there is a way better idea, and I'm going to look so foolish. Here's what I use the blue tack for. So, when I moved house, so before, I had a Tupperware that was big enough I could put when I clean out these portafilters. Obviously, you take the baskets out, the baskets, you pop them into your Tupperware with a bit of pulley or a bit of Caffenza or whatever. You let it soak for 30 minutes, an hour, overnight, whatever you want to do. When we're in the cafe, we used to do this on a daily basis. Everything was put into a big bucket of Caffenza or pulley every night, overnight. Come in the morning, you'd wash it out, you'd run a coffee or two through it just to make sure there's no chemicals in there, and then you'd be good to go. I do this once a week at home. So once a week, I clean all my equipment. These come out, they go into the Tupperware, but for some reason, I've lost the big Tupperware that I had. So I bought some new Tupperware. But again, here's the thing. I went to buy the big deep Tupperware, but what I ended up was falling in love with glass Tupperware. And it only came in shallow sizes. And I really didn't want the plastic because it gets cloudy and it scratches and looks a bit meh. So I bought glass. And plus, glass is more environmentally friendly, save the oceans, don't kill any dolphins, all that kind of stuff. I don't want to buy anything plastic if I can avoid it. I much prefer glass. Plus, there's my whole tactile, touchy-feely kind of fetish thing that I have where I like touching things. And this, for example, gives me no joy to touch it. Beautiful utilitarian device gives me no joy. On the other hand, nice quality glass. Duralex. Gives me a lot of joy to drink water out of that glass. So where was I? The blue tack. So I have, unfortunately, nowhere for this double-spouted doohickey basket portafilter. Okay, you clean the baskets. We know that, right? Clean the baskets. But what about the portafilter? Huh? Who cleans that? How does that get clean? You'll notice that my portafilter, even though I've been using it for a week or so, this one, it's not that dirty. I don't know if you can see that because I haven't got the autofocus thing on. If I have the autofocus thing on, it goes in and out and you get seasick. So it's kind of fixed on my face. If I put that next to my head, maybe you can see. But inside, it's not that dirty. Why? Because I clean it like you should. You should actually put this whole thing in with some Caffenza and let it soak. But here's the problem. I don't have a tub anymore. So of course I put it in the sink, but then that becomes really inconvenient if somebody wants to use the sink, which they invariably do. So I have this other little sink area next to the sink, which is another little mini sink thing. I don't know what they're called technically. Kitchen people tell me. But that doesn't seem to hold the water very well. And then people just want to rinse out. They want to use it. It was always in the way. So what I did was I thought, I wonder if I got some blue tack, I just stuff it in the hole at the bottom. And that's what I do is I stuff it in there like that. And then I fill this up with Caffenza and water, hot water, a little bit of Caffenza, hot water. And it just sits on its own by the side of the sink. And obviously there's a drawback to this. And the drawback is that the hole and the little scoopy bits, they don't get cleaned. Well, technically they're called scoopy bits, so I'm going to refer to them through that language. But the scoopy bits at the bottom and that little bit of the hole don't get cleaned, and that is an issue which I haven't resolved yet. So what I thought I would do is I would plug the scoopy bits. Of course, that's the thing to do. Is I plug those with the blue tack, and it doesn't work. It just leaks. For some reason, you plug the hole, it's good to go. You plug the scoopy bits, doesn't work. So that's what I use it for. I would love to know if there are a better way to use my blue tack, or And I can't believe there's any way to improve upon it. But if there was, hypothetically, a different way to clean this without putting it into the whole thing, without submerging it, please do let me know. And feel free to laugh at me. That's okay. I'm a big guy and I know where you live. I forgot. What about the rocket blower? What do I use this for? All right. So the rocket blower is a genius invention that I use. If you go back and look at my video on the grinder, on the Eureka grinder I've got, you'll see how I use this. When I'm cleaning the grinder, I stuff this down the chute. I've got the top burr off. If it doesn't work unless the burr is off, take the top burr off. I stick this in there, and it's like a little mini bellows, except I don't have that stupid thing on top where you pump it. I hate those bellows. So you can push it with that. That's great. So that's a one use. But this has many uses, right? This has many uses. You got coffee grinds all over your grind. Can you add the sticks, a little bit of static all over there? Bit of paintbrush, bit of this. And it just, instead it sprays everywhere. No, it goes over all of your desk, and then your desk, you scoop it. You know, your tabletop, you scoop it up. But this comes in very handy. It's also very good. It fits in little holes. So I use it in the hand grinder as well. Stuff it in there. Puff some grinds out of the hand grinder. Doesn't really retain very much, so there's not really much that comes out, but it all helps. Get it underneath. Plus it's fun to do. So that's my little rocket. It just comes in handy. Trust me. I don't know, so many places. Comes in handy. I can't think of so many places, but it comes in very, very handy. So rocket blower. If you want to know where to get these from, they're called rocket blowers, and they typically are sold in camera shops or camera stores online. So I think that's going to wrap it up for today. I hope you're all doing fantastically well, and I will see you next week.